Hello, it's Phil here at digitaldjtips.com. I've spent the last week in the company of the Numark Mixtrack Quad DJ controller. It's a 4-channel DJ controller, which is certainly rare at its price point, and it's designed to work with Virtual DJ LE, which comes in the box with it, with all 4 channels working. Now, a little bit of history. The Numark Mixtrack Pro was one of the runaway success stories in consumer DJing. I'd still recommend you buy a Numark Mixtrack Pro if you're strapped for cash and you want to get going. And it was replaced with the Numark Mixtrack Pro 2, which looks very much like this. So think of this as the 4-channel version of the Numark Mixtrack Pro 2. Now, a couple of differences though. The Numark Mixtrack Pro comes with Serato DJ software, very good software. It's actually the intro version of that software, but you can upgrade it to the full package. And this doesn't. This comes with Virtual DJ LE, which is, again, upgradable to the full package. And so you're choosing Virtual DJ when you choose the 4-channel version. And there's what I guess is quite a simple reason for that, in that you can't get Serato DJ Intro, the software that comes with the 2-channel version of this, effectively. You can't get that for 4-channel controllers. You know, you need to upgrade to get it. So I presume that's why they've taken the choice to go with Virtual DJ on this. If you're happy with Virtual DJ, and we'll have a look at it in a minute, we'll look at the implementation in a minute, then obviously that's going to be no problem to you. But if you do want to use it with Serato, just be aware that you can't. Now, this is MIDI-mappable, so you could use it with Traktor or any other DJ software, depending on finding the right mapping for it, but it comes with Virtual DJ in the box. So you load a track by moving the browse button, which just moves on the screen to whichever track you quite fancy listening to. Let's load that one up, and by pressing the load button it appears on one of the decks. The decks are color coded. It might be a little bit hard to see in this light, but this is color coded red and this is color coded blue with a ring around it, and that corresponds to the colors on the screen for each of the 4 decks in Virtual DJ, which is quite nice. So once the track's loaded, then you have a line for each deck, and because the layer buttons are set to decks A and B, or the top 2 decks in the Virtual DJ software, which are actually numbered 1 and 2 in this case, because of that, then channels 1 and 2, the 2 middle ones, are going to control it. So I can start that track playing there, and the other track would be on this deck here. But if I press the layer button, then I'm on this fader here. So you can see how we get all 4 to work. So what about the main features? Well, these are very normal. They're quite cramped, but there's bass, mid and treble, and they cut all the way. So that's just going to turn the sound fully off, and then I can bring elements of the sound back again. There's no gain control, which is an omission, I think. There's normally a 4th knob with gain, which is like a volume control, a 2nd volume control, but it's pre-fader. However, Virtual DJ does choose the gain for you when you load the track, and you can see on the screen what it's chosen, and you could change it on the screen by grabbing and dragging the knob. However, there are lots of fun controls up here, and that's what I want to concentrate most on in this video. So to start with, you've got 4 effects. Now, there's not a massive amount to write home about here because they're not brilliant in Virtual DJ LE. One of the most useful ones, I think, is filter. Just make that a bit louder so we can hear it a bit better. It's not a bad sounding filter. You can turn it off by pressing that button there. And that works depending on which deck you've currently got selected, and there's another one for the other side as well. There's also effects. Now, these are set to this kind of like screechy sound, and this break, I'm not sure what that one is actually, that's a beat repeater. There's parameters for these which can be chosen on the screen, but the effects are not the strong point of Virtual DJ LE by any means. This lower section of buttons are controlled depending on how you set them. So you hold the shift button here and press the loop button. Now they're in loop mode, and there's a little light here to tell you that. And it's doing some various looping functions for me now. A bit hard to tell because of the fact that we're on a really quiet bit of the tune. There we go, some looping going on there. If you press Shift and this button here, well, now the 4 are going to control the samples. And there's some various preset samples there in Virtual DJ, which you can go and change by changing the sample settings on the screen and loading up whatever you want. If you press Shift and the third button here, you've got cues. So now I can drop some hot cues in. And I can keep dropping them in. Let's get another one. And so on. And then you can delete the cues by pressing the delete button here, or in fact that's actually a cue. Press Shift and delete. Now they'll all flash and you can choose which cues you want to delete, like this. So you're free to add more cues as you wish. And that's really how these work. They're not really drum pads. They're described as drum pads in the software's manual. They're not really drum pads. You can't set them up so you're drumming stuff out on all of them. However, they're quite a nice way of controlling the bits and pieces that I've just shown you. So what else can I show you? I can show you the scratch control. At the moment, this is set to scratch. And that's because this button here has been pressed. Now it's actually very good. I can, you know, it's quite fine control. The spin backs are good. Spin forwards aren't. I mean, look at the wheel and then listen to what you can hear. They're not staying in time with the track, if you like. That's a known thing on Virtual DJ, and it's the same with all Virtual DJ controllers. Not many people kind of go like that anyway, so it's not a big one, but just to point it out. And there's also a nice function here. If you press Shift in the scratch button, you're now in what's called a slip mode. Now, the top 4 buttons always control various loops, but in this function, it's really nice. So what's happening here is that the track's playing on. So you can hear the track hasn't actually changed underneath what I'm doing. And that works with scratching and all kinds of things. So I could, and it'll carry on where I left off. It's something that's becoming more popular on DJ controllers. Traktor and Serato have got it, Pioneer controllers have it, and this has it now as well, so that's good. If you want to turn off the scratching entirely, you press that button there. And now this is all a nudge control. With scratch turned on, only the edge is nudge. And these jog wheels seem to me to be a bit improved on the ones on the Mixtrack Pro too, in that they are a bit more rubberized around the edge. Maybe I'm just not remembering right, but anyway, whatever, they feel really nice. So there is the Mixtrack Quad. It's a nice little controller. You know, there's stuff it doesn't do. It hasn't got any external inputs at all, apart from the microphone input on the side, which has got its own volume control. So you can't plug in record decks and CD players and even backup sources or anything like that. It's strictly a software controller. And likewise, there's nothing on the back for outputs apart from, you know, one pair of outputs for the speakers and a USB to go into your computer. So if you wanted to plug in any extra stuff that way, you can't do it. But that's expected at this price point. Overall, it's nicely built, it's nicely realized, it works well with the software that's provided with it. It does a lot of things that more expensive controllers do quite well. And most importantly, really, at this price point, it's a lot of fun to use. I've enjoyed playing with the Numark Mixtrack Quad. So not pro gear, but really good consumer gear, and out of the box for the price, it's definitely going to get you going in DJing and hopefully having a lot of fun. The Numark Mixtrack Quad, as always, the full review is on digitaldjtips.com, and if you've enjoyed watching this review and you'd like to get some free DJ training from us, then again, it's at digitaldjtips.com/join.